The Natural State of Sports Show, episode 4 and through 3, Kyle. By the way, Kyle Marshak, our co-host today, he's back 2 days in a row.
Let's go.
Through 3 episodes, we are undefeated. I think we should have a party.
Yes, that sounds great. It's like, technically, if you don't play a game, you're undefeated, though.
Exactly right. We've had no competition whatsoever. We're undefeated. Young Riley knows that. Young Riley, can you please fill the viewers and listeners in on why we'll be throwing an undefeated party here? You said we had to get to this today.
Well, Governor Sanders made an announcement that she will be hosting Silverfield, Eurachek, and U of A Chancellor tomorrow at the Governor's Mansion for what she says is an undefeated party to celebrate the kickoff of the football season.
Well, clearly she doesn't listen to our podcast because she would know we're undefeated and we should have gotten an invite. I mean, I would love to see Riley in a tuxedo or button-up shirt with a tie and whatnot in the Governor's Mansion.
That's true. We're suited up all the time because it's our job.
Right.
Young Riley. Riley, can we get a shot of you real quick? Just super quick. First off, young Riley has a beard, which we haven't spoken to too much. I just want to say on this podcast that I'm a huge fan of it, personally.
It's a good look. Do you shave right here or...
Right here?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so
I
you
like
separate the
disconnected
mustache.
I love the disconnected mustache, yes.
Now, will you be trying to handlebar it at any point?
Someday, we'll see. Not anytime soon.
We're talking about centimeters of hair that allow you to make it the handlebar.
And do you know how distinguished he would be at the Governor's Mansion if he showed up with like the old like aristocrat like
The
twirl?
power of AI, we could create that image of him in a suit at the Governor's Mansion.
I know what we're going to be doing instead of our jobs after this podcast.
Yep.
For sure. We're hitting the AI Riley handlebar mustache.
With the 6 o'clock.
Can I give the people at home an insight into some of the inner workings of behind the scenes?
Okay.
So this means we should move on to
Right.
something else, and I think I really want to talk about the defense today.
Oh,
I see where it's going with that,
transition.
but I'm going to say kill. I'm a quarterback in this thing. I feel like if Riley had the handlebar, he would have to speak with a southern drawl as well. But okay, now we'll move on. Not because you told me to, because I want.
Because he wants
Yes.
to. He's the
It's
quarterback
my
of the
decision.
podcast.
All right.
Alex.
Defense, not great last year, to put it very kindly. You weren't here. Riley was, and it was, like I said, not great,
Embarrassing.
young Riley. Yeah. Ooh. Okay. All right. He said it,
Embarrassing.
not me.
From what I've researched, you can't understate it. To be honest, they were just downright horrible.
Well, I mean, they were we've got 100 tied for 103rd in the country in takeaways. They're only, if we scroll down here, I think at 138 teams, is it? 134 teams in Division I football. So there were only 31 teams worse than them. And then keep in mind, they were tied. So there were teams equally as bad.
Pretty bad. Yeah. I mean, and when you're an SEC school, too, I mean, that is a different level of struggle defensively, which then when you compare it to how the defense looks compared to the offense in like team compete, scrimmages, practices, it's low-key kind of concerning because I feel like the defense has a slight edge on the offense. So what does that say about the offense? Obviously, a lot's changed, new head coach, new players, XYZ, but it's kind of concerning.
I may not be with the young generation, but I would say that would be high-key concerning.
Okay, yeah,
if,
you're
if
right.
that's what the kids,
It's front and
that's
center.
high-key concerning. Yeah, we're going to lock that one in. High-key concerning for the defense. Couldn't get the ball away. And so many of their games, as Arkansas fans know, came down to one possession. That's one possession. You get a takeaway anywhere in that ball game, all of a sudden, maybe those games are the one possession in Arkansas's favor because you took it away from them.
And it's funny that you say that because I went to Virginia Tech. I know what it's like to lose one possession games better than the average college football fan because Brent Pry in his 3 years and change at Virginia Tech, I think he was 0-12 in one possession games, didn't win a single one. And then the interim head coach who took over last year, first game, he won a one possession game. It was just so ironic. I think how a coach does in one possession games, just broadly speaking, is a really good thermometer check on their ability to coach in whatever league they're in. When the game is tight, can you out-strategize another coach? When you lose one possession games so frequently, you're not in the right league.
Well, that's why Sam Pittman is gone. He just couldn't get it done. I don't know off the top of my head what his record was in one possession games in his time at Arkansas, but it was really, really bad. I mean, like astronomically, it was like 6-25 or something like that. He just could not get it, and that's why he ended up,
according to Google
leaving.
AI, 7-19.
Yeah, see, that's not good. That's
really bad.
Yeah, what, one win for every 3 losses, give or take?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, so that's why he's gone, ultimately. If he could have pulled out even half of those, you flip that record, that's pretty solid. But I will say to your Virginia Tech thing, at least you guys have the coolest entrance in all of college football, so you got that before you blow the game.
It's so funny you say that because I just saw someone post about it on TikTok the other day, some other kid who was a student around the same time as me, and he took the words right out of my mouth. The 4-year period that I was in Blacksburg, Virginia, the only Enter Sandman entrance that actually was representative of the culture of the program and at least the expectation of how good they are at football was the very first game I went to freshman year when they beat number 10 North Carolina at home with like a walk-off interception. After that, only losing football the entire time I was a student at Virginia Tech. And so, yeah, Enter Sandman's cool, but like so was winning football games. So
that's a good point. If you could trade in the best entrance for college football for a national championship,
I'd much
just
rather
about
be a boring
everybody would
football team.
Right. Or, I mean, unless you're Ohio State, then you would just trade it just to beat Michigan one time.
That's true.
Then you would trade
Don't
your
diss
entrance
me.
in. I didn't drop any names. There was no name dropping, young Riley.
Whenever you drop Ohio State, you know exactly who you're talking about.
I have no idea what you're talking about. Are you an OSU fan? Yeah.
You know it.
Oh,
I'm
no,
gonna
look,
we're I'm gonna bring my Buckeyes on this show one day. I'm gonna bring all my necklaces. I'm gonna bring my Justin Fields jersey. I'm gonna be dripped out for this.
I
and
feel
you know
like
it.
the producer camera will be broken on that day.
No,
I don't
I
know.
think-
It's just weird how that works out.
I think Michigan's a pretty cool school, personally. I
I
actually
like
really
the
like their
maize and
brand.
blue. Yeah, I
Yeah.
do too. But look, this isn't about Riley defending Ohio State. This is
No.
about Arkansas defending the end zone to get back on track. And they were not particularly good at it last year under Travis Williams, the defensive coordinator. Another really concerning stat from last year before we start talking about this year was the sacks. They just did not produce them. They were, I believe, 103rd or so in the country in sacks last year, which was, once again, only 134 teams, so it was near the bottom.
Can I jump in here real quick?
I would love if you did, as long as it's not about Ohio State.
So this is an interesting tidbit I found regarding the sacks. Arkansas was surprisingly 13th out of 16 in the SEC. Guess who was last, Kyle, in the conference last year in sacks?
Vandy?
Nope.
One more get two more
Vanderbilt was
strikes.
8th.
Last in sacks in the SEC last year. Let's go Tennessee.
Nope. Tennessee
Last one.
was 4th.
All right.
I got the cheat. I can't play. I see it right here.
All right. I'll throw a final one out there. Last was Auburn. That was a bad
Auburn was
guess.
9th. It's Georgia. Georgia had 20 sacks last season. Arkansas had 22.
Really? It was Georgia. Huh.
Georgia. It's very surprising.
yeah.
Known for their edge rushers.
Known for the edge rushers, known for their linebackers, known for their aggressiveness. To have them at the bottom of the conference is
That's crazy.
pretty
I
surprising.
mean, they're kind of known for everything in the trenches.
So look at that, Hogs fans. You can say we're better than Georgia at something. There you go. But the Arkansas defense, right, just could not generate pressure last year. The best at it was Quincy Rhodes Jr., who thankfully is back. He did not hit the transfer portal. He bought into what Ryan Silverfield was selling here. He's back. I believe he had 9 sacks last year leading the team. He's back. You've got David Oki on the front line, who was injured for a lot of last year, but flashed a whole lot of promise. You paired those two up along with a lot of the transfer guys that they got in. I think they pulled 5 or 6 guys. I think it was 6 guys from Division I Power 4 schools on the defensive line alone. That's given them a lot of depth, and you've been to several practices, you've listened to press conferences. That's something that they have been talking about the entire time, which I know it's coach speak throughout all of the preseasons. Oh, we have depth. We have depth. Go to any program to say we have depth. But with Arkansas, with those guys, with Quincy Rhodes, you actually believe that this is a defensive line that can hold up and be talented no matter who's in there.
I think of any position group on the entire team, if you don't think something between the running backs and the D-line are the two best position groups Arkansas has, you're crazy. Because, I mean, they have talent in every other position group, but I think the secondary's thin. We don't know enough about the quarterbacks yet. The receivers, you've got 2-3 guys that you trust, right? But it's not super deep after that. But the D-line and the running backs, I trust. I think they are SEC level rooms. And unequivocally on the defense, the D-line's going to run the show.
And ultimately, when you break down the X's and O's of what you want to have happen, right? The reason why coaches bring up depth, the reason why it's so important is because it is a 4-quarter game. The fresher you can keep your best guys, the better you will do later in the game. Do you want your second or third string guy rushing the quarterback when it's 3rd and 7 in the 4th quarter, 2 minutes, and the other offense is driving to go score the game-winning touchdown? Or would you prefer to have Quincy Rhodes at his freshest in that situation, rushing the passer? The fresher you can keep your guys, the better you will play throughout 4 quarters. That is why talent is so important. And you have to have that depth to trust whoever is in the ball game at this point, right? Whatever point they're in there, you can't have a gigantic drop in talent, or else the opposing offense is going to start moving the ball. You're going to fall behind. They can control the clock, all of that stuff. So you need to keep your guys fresh. You also need to trust that these guys can maintain the defense while those other guys are out getting rest. And I think Arkansas has built a room, like you said, to do that.
Yeah, I think, again, like when you look at all the position groups, I think the only two position groups that show depth and real strength are the D-line and the running backs. And the D-line specifically, like that is, it just happens to be a position. I think because they had Quincy Rhodes Jr. to begin with, that when you bring in the new coaches, you bring in the new players in the transfer portal, they developed a really good D-line in year one. I think these other position groups, it might take 2-3 seasons for Silverfield to catch up and develop a real SEC level room. But I mean, Quincy Rhodes Jr. he's just a freak.
2-minute warning.
That's why it's on all the watch lists. Okay, rapid fire mode here with our 2-minute warning. They say the games are won in the trenches. It all starts in the trenches, but we would be remiss if we did not talk about the back end of the defense, which is the thing that keeps the cap on those explosive plays. I want to get young Riley in here because I know he was talking to me earlier about some defensive backs and their ability to kind of step things up this year.
We have heard a lot about Joker Johnson from Tulane, pretty highly coveted guy in the transfer portal. I think he was a 4-star, one of the highest ranked corners. They have said nothing but good things. I think Chris Marshall said the other day, they know he's cornerback 1 and wide receiver 1 on cornerback 1, and iron is sharpening iron right now over there. So yeah, Jermaine Johnson, he's going to be the name to watch. I think the only returner is Miguel Mitchell, the safety.
Yep. Which, he did see time, and so SEC experience is SEC experience. But to Riley's point, when you can get Jaheim Johnson or Joker, so those names are interchangeable. If you can get yourself a corner to lock down one side of the field, do you know how much of a just relief that is to a defensive coordinator that we can now focus our efforts elsewhere to make up for that? He's one to watch for sure.
Well, it opens things up, and we know that Silverfield likes to drop some D-line guys back in coverage, and when you have a corner that is going to take care of their guy, I mean, that opens things up systematically for the defense for sure.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to watch. Now, I will say that explosive plays were a problem in their scrimmage on Sunday. So the secondary with a little bit of work left to do. We here on the podcast, a lot of work left to do when it comes to talking about this Arkansas Razorbacks team, breaking them all down. We have already hit our time limit here.
That's
Young
crazy.
Riley, the producer, is giving me the countdown to wrap things up.
We got 10 seconds, guys.
We got 10 seconds, so thank you guys for listening. We're on every weekday at 6:45 here on the 5 News Plus app. For Kyle Marshak, I'm Alex Stewart. We'll see you guys next time.